Swastiastu. This is Bali, the island of 1,000 temples, a tropical paradise in Asia, rich in culture and history, known for its scenic nature, crystal clear water, and photogenic beaches. However, we were there not for the holidays, but to explore the holy days.
So at first I was a little bit nervous about traveling to Bali. I think all of us were a little bit nervous with that 17-hour flight. But me personally, I've never been to such a faraway distance. So I came to Bali not knowing much of the culture. So I was initially just a blank slate. I was a little bit nervous about communicating with the people in Bali, about the culture as well, if I was respecting it or whatnot. But I was very excited for the service learning projects. I knew we were guests in this country, so I really wanted to give back to the community. And I feel like we definitely left with a big impact, and we all came with a different perspective.
Learning about the trash that has built up in Bali over the years was really interesting. People living near the trash dump sites have encountered many health problems, and it has become a real problem in Bali. Learning about Maggie Farms was impactful because they strive to solve the problem of reducing organic waste that goes into the landfill. This has made me reflect on the trash that I produce and ways to reduce it.
My biggest takeaway in Bali was the PKP Women's Center, hearing her inspiring story from her father to her marriage and how she was able to grow from that and develop a space where people with difficulties could come together and support each other, and how it's the only place like that in Bali, which really struck me, where I'm so used to having so many resources around me, but she was able to develop from nothing to something, and I found that very inspiring.
So for me, the most eye-opening experience was getting to see the unseen parts of Bali. So just like everyone else, we were so excited to explore the tropical life and the beautiful nature of Bali, which we did, and it was absolutely beautiful. But at the same time, we also saw mountains of trash and rivers of waste. And this just made me more conscious of the world and its environmental problems and how important it is to become responsible tourists, in addition to creatively think of ways to tackle those environmental problems.
This experience has shaped and contributes to my future career path by refining my cross-cultural communication skills, which are very important in tailoring marketing strategies for different audiences in the global marketplace. Understanding different cultures are so important in international marketing, and this experience has allowed me to see that and foster a heightened sense of global awareness and sensitivity.
One main concept that we learned in Bali was the Three Hitakarana, which is a traditional philosophy for life. The literal translation for this philosophy is the three causes of well-being or harmony. I will continue to live by this philosophy through strengthening my relationship with God, humans, and nature. I will live by this with connecting with the spirits, and also just connecting with the community around me and those that I serve in healthcare, and just the atmosphere and environment that nature has to offer. We saw this concept through the subak systems, the architecture of the buildings, and just the inviting atmosphere that Bali had.
One of the first things that we learned when coming to Bali is time is not money, and that's very different than the US culture because we are so entrenched in productivity culture and the hustle, and we forget that it takes time to build relationships. This was reflected in a Gojek or Uber ride that we had. When we got in the vehicle, our driver was talking to somebody and they stayed talking with that person for about 2 minutes before we actually left. We thought it was really funny because we were looking around like, are we gonna leave? And this is something that we would not see in the US, but in Bali, time is not money.
Long journey since you came in here together. You know how nervous we are in the airport waiting for you guys, and it was really fun. Thank you so much for joining every activity that we plan for you guys. Thank you so much for always listening to us, even though we are like nagging all the time about timing, about everything. And thank you so much for to be present all the time. And I hope you can learn a lot of things, and I hope you can tell the story to your family, to people back home, and I hope you can come back. And want to say something?
Whenever you come back, you can just stay with us. Free. And only for Ruth. Yeah. If you want to stay with me and Ari, you'll be Balinese. Big offering every day. Yeah.
And if you want to stay in my house, you have to clean. Okay. All right. So thank you so much once again. We are really happy that this program runs really well. I hope you are happy too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And